Hi, everyone. It is me, Sailor Moon, Serena, and me, Sailor Venus, Sailor V, Sailor Hellish World Mina here. And the first thing we're going to talk about is sorry for the first film being dark. We just thought it would be light enough, but I guess it wasn't that light enough, so forgive us. So today we're going to talk about why we like the Pioneer. We're going to talk about why we like the Deep Glee Sailor Moon Slight 2. Because there were some things when we made the first film earlier this morning that we didn't talk about. Like me, learning that I was the Moon Alderling. Because they would have this whole thing in the show as if, even though I was Sailor Moon, they were like, oh, you're not the Moon Alderling, that's someone else, even though Moon's in my name. And I know a lot of folks knew watching the show that I was the Alderling of the Moon, and how they played it all up, you know, and how, everything led to how I became the Moon Alderling. So I like that, you know. Oh, you know, and also I liked how we had, Mina or Sailor V or Sailor Venus or Sailor Hellish World, how they kept saying the sixth Sailor Fighter's gonna come. And even though she was already a Sailor Fighter before we even became Sailor Fighters, except for the Alders, they came before us. How we didn't know she was a Sailor Fighter or not, but she already had film games already, and how they kept bringing her up, but they wouldn't bring her up. They would, you know, yeah, and how they'd bring up about central control or, needed run, and how these folks who Luna and Artemis were working for, but it shifted out to be Artemis, and Luna didn't know, so they kept playing that up. Even, even after Sailor Venus or Sailor V or Sailor Hellish World came to the team, so I like that thing. Oh, you're right, Sailor Moon. You're right, Serena. I know a lot of folks will say that they don't like the way I was on the show, that I was nothing more, that I was only another offshoot of you, but that's not true. Yes, I did have my klutz times. We not like the one where I was playing caregiver to everyone, and I made a sty and Amy's house and Lita's house and Ray's house, and I thought I could be more wild doing it at Serena and Reni's house, and a lot of things just went wrong. But I liked how they played it up, that I wasn't flawless and that I made mistakes, you know, and, you know, and I liked that. And they kept all that in there. And I know a lot of folks are going to say, oh, they cut things out, they skimmed things, they shifted things. Yes, it's true, they did. But all those things that we talked about, they're still in there, What else? Why else did we like Deep Glee Sailor Moon for? I don't know. Because it was I'm not going to say that it was the first drawing show to come from Dawnland. Hell no. There were many drawing shows that had come from Dawnland into other lands before our show. But it was the first show that Deke, ended up getting the rights to. And those are some of the things I can think of, like, me coming on the show as Sailor V, Sailor Venus, Sailor Hellish World, and, everyone thinking that I was the Moon Alderling, but I was not. You know how that goes. Yeah, I get it, Mina. I get it, Sailor Venus. I get it, Sailor V. I understand it's Sailor Hellish World. I mean, you came on a team. Everyone kept saying, oh, you're the Moon Alderling, but you're not the Moon Alderling. You were the leader. But not, you were the leader of the team in the past. Well, not the Grand Leader, because that would have been Sailor Earth, but whatever. You know, there's a lot of things you can like about Deke Lee's Sailor Moon. You know, like, yeah. So, those are just some of the grounds, some of the things to why we like the Deke Lee Sailor Moon. I know that I know that in the Sailor Moon followership, it's not beloved. A lot of folks in the Sailor Moon followership hate the Deke Glee Sailor Moon. Maybe they hate it as much as they hate the Pioneer Glee Sailor Moon or Pathseeker Glee Sailor Moon. You know? And yeah, but this is just talking about, you know, a lot of the things. Yeah, there's a lot of funny things that happen in the show that we liked. There's a lot of earnest things that happen in this show as well. You know? Another thing is that everyone has enough time on the show to grow, you know, and yeah, that's another thing, you know. Everyone knows who they are. They're growing, they're learning, and there's a lot of, you know, you got your earnest things going on, but then you got your funny things going on too. And there's a lot of things about the Deke Glee Sailor Moon that I like. You know, that you can like. I know it might go against, you know, the oversight or the held belief or thought of those in the Sailor Moon followership that the Deke Glee Sailor Moon's no good. But that's their belief, that's their thought. So if you want this film, then give it a like, share it and playlist it, and tell us, did you like the Deke Glee Sailor Moon? And are there things about the Deke Glee Sailor Moon, you know, that you liked? And we'll see you later.